Okay, everyone, so I'm driving home from work and just stuck here in a little bit of traffic, as is quite common here on my commute back and forth. And so I thought I'd just take a little time to make my second video for today because I want to keep on schedule here. So this is going to be part 5. Came out, I made it a little earlier this morning, and this here is part 6. So I want to start talking about how to make a transition in your mentality from being that of a victim, as I call it, to being that of a victor. And this is going to lay a foundation in your life. If you master this concept and you really begin to apply it to every area of your life, you're going to see the majority. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say that probably 85, maybe even up to 90% of the stress and the challenges in your life are going to disappear, and the failures in your life are going to disappear if you just start working on mastering this one change. And it's really huge. It's simple, but it's really huge. And it's because it's foundational. It lays a platform for how we think and how we live. Now, it takes a little time for us to make this transition. And you have to be very intentional about it because it really has to do with rewiring our brain circuits. I'm assuming you all are familiar with that terminology. Maybe we'll deal with it in another video as we go along. And so again, this is going to be something that we're going to keep coming back to time and again as we talk about making this transition in how we think. But let me talk a little bit about what I mean, just to describe it to get us started. So most of us tend to live our life in what I call reaction mode. We tend to just respond and react to everything that happens in our life around us. To a certain degree, there's some of that that's unavoidable, but there's a lot of what we react to that we just don't need to react to. And so when we're continually in a reaction mode, we're really on the losing end of the deal because something's happening and then we're having to scramble and try to respond to it. And the tendency is to go away feeling like, oh man, I could have done this better. I could have handled this better. I wish I had said this. I wish I had done this. How did I get myself here? I wish I could have, coulda, shoulda, woulda mentality. And so in that, we tend to build up a lot of unhealthy thinking patterns about ourselves. We tend to always be stressed. We tend to not get done what we want to get done because we're continually living in reaction. And I'm not talking just about like good daily planning. I'm talking about on an emotional level, like our mentality towards life. We tend to live in reaction. And what you'd be surprised to know is that a lot of people that seem to be really successful and that actually seem to be well disciplined are actually still living in reaction mode. And what's holding them together is simply the fact that their identity is associated with something in life that they do that makes them successful. So maybe they're a good entrepreneur. And so they're really good at making money, and they've got, they've got a nice bank account saved up, or they got a great fancy house to show off, or they maybe got a great car collection to show off. And their identity is so tied and they're so driven to brand themselves that way that it kind of holds them together. But the thing is, if you were to take that away, if all of a sudden their source of income, if all of a sudden their source of worth was taken away, you'd see their whole life would just fall apart. Because in reality, it may look like they're living intentionally, but they're actually just living in reaction. They're reacting to the fact that they want to do what looks successful, and so they're good at it, and they just keep doing that, and their identity gets tied to it. So a part of the transition from being a victim, from living in reaction, to transitioning to being a victor, living intentionally, purposefully, deciding how you react to life, a lot of that goes back to our core identity. What do I derive my self-worth and my identity from? And when we establish that, then we begin to put into our life the things that support that identity, the things that support those core values, and we begin to stop living just in reaction. We begin to become very purposeful in how we live. So I know this video is a little bit longer, and I've just dumped a bunch of information on you, and you're probably going to be like, either, yeah, he's right on, I know exactly what he's saying, or you're going to be like, huh? Or you're going to be like, I think I get that, but how in the world do I even get there? And hopefully you're somewhere in all three of those reactions, but don't worry, we'll walk you through it. And even if you think you got it, I can assure you that you didn't fully get it, because I've been getting it for at least 3 years, maybe more, and I'm still trying to get it, and I'm getting a bit more, but we're on the journey, and so we're getting this together. And if I can contribute to your journey, then that's going to be awesome. So stay tuned and start thinking about how can I stop living in reaction? What are my core values? Where does my identity come from? And we'll get back to that. So that's your homework for right now. And y'all have a great weekend, and we will see you later.